Okay, we're going to continue talking about my days at Petoskey Hospital. My name is Keystone, the optimistic quadriplegic, just in case this is the first video you've looked at. There's several out there, and I'd appreciate you to check those out. But we had left off where I'm out of surgery, I'm awake. I posted a video just recently of a conversation with the neurosurgeon. I hope you got a chance to see that. If not, please go back and look at that. And also, just a little slideshow of some of the still photos that we took while I was in the hospital. Not a lot of video there, but that was a rough time. We weren't really thinking about documenting. But one of the most amazing stories that happened to me while I was in the hospital involved my brother-in-law. This was on Saturday, so I don't think I knew that I was going to get discharged yet. But my brother-in-law was in the waiting room, and he's generally a guy who doesn't share a lot of stories unless asked. But there was another family in there, and they're discussing, why each other was there, and they were there because their mother had a heart attack, so they were visiting her. And Rich went on to tell my story about how I was paralyzed and things like that. And one of the gentlemen in that group looked at him and said, "You got to be kidding me." He says, "I have to talk to him." And my brother-in-law says, "Why do you need it? Why? What's the big deal?" He says, "That was me 20 years ago." So Rich came in and said, "Hey, there's a guy in the waiting room that says he was in a similar situation to you, and he wants to talk to you." And I said, "Well, yeah, absolutely, bring him in." So he did. He came in right away. His name was Ron, and he was a postal worker. But 20 years ago, he was in the service, and he was driving a pickup truck. He was intoxicated, and he drove off the road. No seatbelts. He got ejected through the windshield and through a fence, like a mesh fence that you would have in your backyard. He survived, but he broke C4, C5, and he was in a lot worse shape than I was. But here's this guy standing there right in front of me, not in a wheelchair, not a walker, crutches, nothing. And he was in the VA hospital. He went on to tell a story. He was in the VA hospital for longer than I was. He was in the VA rehab for longer. Well, I don't know how long I was doing it. But he was in there for a year at least, just doing rehab. And here he is standing in front of me. And he says, the only problem I have is once in a while, my one hand gives me a problem, and I'll drop something, and I bend over and I pick it up, and that's it, no big deal. So I talk about faith, hope, and optimism. Well, here's a guy's story, gave me tremendous optimism. I'm looking at him in the flesh, and I can't believe that how similar our stories are and how well they turn out. So now I'm thinking immediately, well, that's going to be me someday. I could do that if he did it. And I didn't even know what to think at that time. So we made connections that we were going to meet together. He lived in Kentwood, which is a subdivision of Grand Rapids. So we got his phone number, and we were going to try and meet up, when I got out of the hospital and was feeling better, or whenever, he'd come visit me again. Because, like I said, the optimism he gave me is the optimism I'm trying to give other people. I want to see people see me get better, and if somebody's in this situation, not necessarily paralyzed, but maybe you've got other problems, that with optimism and fight and faith and hope, you can get through it. So we wanted to hook up with Ron because it was such a great story. And we had set a date to see him. And I think I got sick or something, but I had to cancel it. And then we called him a week or so later and couldn't get a hold of him. We tried several times since then to get a hold of him and never could. And so I'm thinking, the doubts are creeping in, like, was this guy even real? Was he an angel sent by God to tell me his story and to lift me up and to give me optimism? It gave me goosebumps. It kind of gives me goosebumps now. There's just too many coincidences. Why would he be in that waiting room? Why would my brother-in-law all of a sudden be telling my story? How could our injuries be so similar? But whatever it was, for a long time, well, still today, that really boosted my spirits and gave me lots of optimism, which proves to be important. So whether he was real, and I just can't reach out to him, or whether he was something else, it worked. And I'm kind of leaning towards God sending me a messenger, sending me an angel, and that's nothing I ever believed in before. Like, a lot of people believe in paranormal and things like that, and I never did. But this has convinced me that maybe that's what Ron was. So that's my story of the peak of my optimism, and I build on that every day, and I hope I can help other people be that optimistic.